Hello and welcome to the second video regarding a specific build. This one is going to be more of the Pyros dungeon. We'll be setting up the interface here. We got the usual strength build instead of crit. Health is only recommended if you're new to the dungeon and if you need extra safety. Not knowing what to do, you can survive with extra health, but going for the ultimate, I would recommend going for strength so you deal more damage. And now we'll be heading to the build. So for the build for Pyros, I would recommend is Death Spin to 10 and the Groundbreaker to 10. So the reason why you want to have Death Spin to 10 at this time instead of having 3 like in Balrog is that Death Spin helps you out to dish out damage if you're learning the fight in Pyros. This is your first hard dungeon that you'll be doing. So learning the fight, Death Spin is really important, and then try to time in getting some Groundbreaker in now and then. But Death Spin is also very useful because you can use Death Spin in the holes. So whenever you have the holes open up, which is usually after the second shout, when he stuns, he opens up the holes, and that's where you can go down below and just spin around down below. I would not recommend spinning all the time down below. Try to adjust running out of the hole if he's doing the tail or fart attack, or if he's after doing a laser you can jump up, do 2 ground breakers and then go back down and spin. That will sort of min-max your DPS when you're doing the strategy of Pyros as a Berserker. So I covered up these two already. These two are your main skills that you can use. You could sacrifice Death Spin, which I will cover up later on in the video, but let's move on. We'll go with Bloodlust at 10. Bloodlust is obviously your healing skill in case you want to go ham and you have a priest, for example, in your party. You can keep up to 3 stacks of dots or burning if you keep yourself alive by using Bloodlust, or even lower stacks in case you don't want to treat your wounds for the ranking, which really doesn't matter. But if you want to go ham with the DPS, feel free to go Bloodlust as high as possible so you can heal up without relying too much on your priest. Or if you're playing without a priest, this will be your main ability to heal yourself. Now we got Blood Price. Blood Price is gonna be useful when you're in the holes or whenever the boss is literally just standing still and not doing much. Which happens in the second phase, and if you know the second phase in and out, then Blood Price is really helpful, and you can just heal yourself up with 10%, with the 43% Bloodlust attack. I apologize for the environment sound that's happening. It's not planned. Yeah, the bus comes up, it drops by every 30 minutes or so. So bad timing to record. Anyways, Great Sword Mastery is your main passive skill. You want to have 10 out of 10 for it, and that's it. So this is a pretty good, decent average build for Pyros. It's not a hard dungeon itself. You can play with different builds if you want to, but my recommendation is this because I'm more familiar with the boss from Close Beta 1, and Death Spin has been helpful, and I feel like having it maxed out will maximize my DPS because I utilize the holes, and I try to use Groundbreaker as much as possible. So a quick tip is when you don't care about the burn debuff on you, you want to try to time in your Groundbreaker because it gives you immunity to knockback, so you can do this while he's charging around, while he's engulfed in flames. Then you'll receive a fire debuff obviously, but if you have a priest with you or if you have Bloodlust, you can just heal yourself up while you ground break him on the way so you don't lose any stacks. And this is to min-max your DPS while having 10 stacks of Dark Aura. Now, I mentioned earlier we can go lower on the Death Spin. It's a second build, I guess. If you don't feel like to spin and become one of those Beyblade people, what you could do now instead is you could spend it on Intimidation to level 4. You can get the deep wounds high enough, and then we'll get Earthquake. So at Earthquake we could get another point. Obviously if you spend more time doing trophies and such, you'll get more skill points and so on. So what we could do is I could lower Blood Price once, and and then go for Earthquake to max it out, because it maxes out at level at 3, because level 4 requires you to have level 52. So you might wonder, why would you have Earthquake build instead, and you know, what's the point with this? So with this build, you're a little bit more versatile, you have more skills to use. Your Death Spin won't be dealing much damage, but that's the main reason. It's only to stack up your Dark Aura and then your Groundbreaker majority of the time. So now that you removed majority of the points here and not spinning too much, and you already learned the fight, and you're not spinning as much as you would in the holes, and you jump up to ground break, now you sacrifice 1 point from Blood Price to have enough points to to go down the path on the far right. Intimidation won't be doing much for you in PvE, especially the description saying some powerful enemies are immune to the effect. So we're skipping that. Our main DPS is Groundbreaking as well, because we want to have the Dark Aura stacks to maximize our DPS here. But we'll unlock, this time we'll unlock Deep Wounds. Deep Wounds is like bleed damage on the enemy every time you crit. So having that extra damage coming from this, that's being unlocked by sacrificing Death Spin and obviously Blood Price. So Blood Price is only one minor percentage, so it's not really that of a big deal to lose out. And you unlock the maximum level for Earthquake at level 50 in close beta. And having this skill, it will deal damage over time, initial hit, and for 5 seconds it will pop the damage over time, or DOT, on the floor, on the boss, which covers up a really large space. This is really useful at the second phase, for example, where you just place it down and then it will deal damage for you as well. So, likewise with when the boss stands still and shoots a lot of flame breath on the first phase, really good skill as well. And this is your off global cooldown skill, where you use every 60 seconds. So this is another way to deal with Pyros. Obviously it's a little bit more skills to be looking up into, but just exclude Intimidation and just add Earthquake to your hotbar, and that's about it. One extra button doesn't hurt. But yeah, thank you very much for watching the Pyros build. That's all I have to show you for Berserker for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video, where I cover up a little bit more about Knight's build with Pyros and one with Balrog. So I'll see you over there.